You don't hatch, you erupt. Your egg splits open in a warm tropical ocean, 400 million years before anything walks on land. You're a speck, smaller than a grain of sand. Around you, 100,000 siblings are hatching. It's a buffet, and you are the food. Something needle-shaped rockets through the cloud, a conodont, basically a mouth with a body attached. One pass, 40 siblings gone. It circles, 30 more. You can't run, can't dodge, can't do anything except spin and hope the current moves you. It does. Straight into a jellyfish. Its tentacles are invisible. 6 siblings went into the jellyfish tentacles. You're tumbling toward those same tentacles when a current nudges you sideways. You survive your first 5 minutes. Most of your 100,000 siblings don't. But surviving up here isn't even the hard part. What's waiting on the seafloor will turn you into something so violent that scientists 400 million years later will name your species after a rock star, because nothing else felt violent enough. And the way you get there, let's start. Skip forward 3 weeks of drifting, starving, and dodging everything with a mouth. You've eaten enough to trigger a change. Your body is stretching, getting longer. Tiny bristle legs sprout from your sides in pairs. You're not a floating speck anymore. You're becoming a worm, and worms don't float. They sink. You drop through the water toward the seafloor, a shallow tropical sea, maybe 30 feet deep, coral and sponges everywhere, building reef structures the size of houses. Armored fish cruise overhead, trilobites, those armored bug-looking things, crawl across every surface. You hit the mud, 5 millimeters long. Everything here could eat you without noticing. A trilobite twice your length spots you and charges, legs churning the sediment, mouth parts already working. You do the only thing your instincts know. You dig. Bristle legs claw into the mud, pulling your body down. You've never burrowed before, but your muscles know exactly what to do. The trilobite's legs scrape across the surface, where you were half a second ago. You're 2 inches deep, surrounded by wet mud pressing on every side of your body. You stay there for hours. When you finally poke your head out, the trilobite is gone, but a nautiloid, a squid ancestor the size of your arm, floating in a cone-shaped shell, is cruising overhead. Its tentacles drag through the mud, feeling for anything soft. One passes over your hole. You retract. It keeps moving. This hole just saved your life. You'll spend the next 3 years making it deeper. But this burrow isn't just a hiding spot. It's going to become a trap. And what grows inside your mouth to run that trap will be the most insane weapon any worm has ever had. Skip forward 6 months. You're 4 inches long, living in an L-shaped burrow you built yourself. Walls reinforced with mucus that hardens like cement. Only 5 thin antennae poke above the mud. They look like blades of grass. Nobody knows you're here. You can't see. Your eyes are basically useless. Everything you know about the world comes through those antennae. Vibrations, chemicals, faint light. Something is walking nearby. Tiny rhythmic pulses, getting closer. A small trilobite ticking through sediment for scraps. It steps on one of your antennae. You fire. Your throat flips inside out and your jaws explode from the mud. 2 curved blades slam shut on the trilobite's midsection. The whole strike takes less than 1/10 of a second, faster than its nervous system can register pain. You drag it underground before anything notices. And here's the insane part. Your jaw tips are reinforced with actual metal. Zinc and iron woven into the protein. You're biting with metal-tipped scissors. No other worm before you or after you will ever grow jaws this big. Sit in the dark. Wait. Explode. Drag prey into a hole. That's your whole life now. But those jaws are about to betray you at the worst possible moment. Skip forward 4 months. Your jaws feel wrong. Loose. The edges that were razor-sharp last week now slide against each other without cutting. They're molting. Old set detaching. New set forming underneath, 40% bigger. But right now, during the switch, you can't bite through anything. Your only weapon is offline, and the timing couldn't be worse. The spiny fish is hunting along the bottom. It pauses directly above your antennae. You can feel its heartbeat through the water. Your instincts scream, strike. But if you fire, the old jaws will shatter. You'll be left with nothing, while the new ones are still soft. It pokes at the mud around your entrance, nudges one antenna, then another. You retract deeper. It follows the movement, starts digging. Sediment falls into your tunnel. Its snout pushes into the funnel. Then a shadow crosses above, a larger fish. The spiny fish folds. You sink to the bottom of your burrow, fold jaws dangling from threads, shaking. 3 days later, the old jaws finally fall away. You push them out of the burrow. They'll sit in the mud and turn to stone. 400 million years from now, a scientist will pick them up and think they're normal-sized worm jaws, until someone tells him to check the scale bar. New jaws lock in, bigger, sharper, metal tips denser than before. But the next thing coming for you isn't something you can eat. Skip forward a year. You're almost 2 feet long. Your jaws are over 1 centimeter wide when open, the largest of any worm that has ever lived or ever will. You've been catching fish, trilobites, small cephalopods. dragging them underground, growing. Then one evening, the water pressure changes. Something massive is moving across the reef. A pterygotus, a sea scorpion nearly 6 feet long, flat, armored, with 2 hooked claws extending from its head like grappling hooks. It's sweeping the reef edge, flipping rocks, ripping through coral rubble. It finds a burrow 30 feet from yours. Not yours, another worm's. The claw hooks into the entrance, pulls. The mud tears open. The worm inside fires its jaws in panic, but the sea scorpion is armored. The bite bounces off the shell. One claw pins the worm, the other tears it in half. 3 years of burrowing, hunting, growing, erased in 4 seconds. The sea scorpion moves on, stops near your burrow. One claw probes the mud, scraping inches from your entrance. Sediment collapses into your tunnel. You retract deep, pulling your entire body into the L-bend. Bristles locked against the walls, every segment anchored. The claw pushes deeper, hits the edge of your reinforced wall, scrapes along it. Then it moves on. Your burrow entrance looks like every other dip in the mud. It never knew you were there. You wait 2 hours before your antennae creep back to the surface. 30 feet away, the remains of that other worm are scattered across the seafloor. Its jaws, smaller than yours, lie in the mud, still attached to nothing. You're safe. But what your body does to itself next makes the sea scorpion look gentle. Skip forward to your 2nd year. Hormones flood your body. Something is happening to your back half. The last third of your segments start swelling, filling with eggs. Thousands and thousands of eggs packing into tissue that used to be muscle. Your back end is becoming a swimming bag of eggs while your front end stays a predator. Then, on a night synced with the moon, your body does the unthinkable. It rips itself in half. You feel it separate, a tearing sensation that runs through your core. Your back half detaches, wriggles out of the burrow on new paddle legs, and swims for the surface. It has no head, no brain, just a tube of eggs driven by pure chemical programming to go up. All around, thousands of other worms are doing the same thing on the same night. The water fills with writhing half-bodies surging upward. At the surface, they burst, literally explode. Eggs and sperm cloud the water milky white. Fish swarm in from everywhere. It's the biggest free meal of the year. They gorge on the clouds, swallowing thousands of your eggs per mouthful. Meanwhile, you're in your burrow, missing a third of your body, bleeding from the separation wound. It'll take 8 months to regrow those segments. 8 months shorter, weaker, slower. During recovery, a fish noses into your burrow entrance. You fire your jaws on instinct. The strike connects, but you can't drag it underground. You're too short, not enough body to anchor yourself. The fish rips free and swims off with a chunk missing. Your meal escapes because your body isn't long enough to do its own job anymore. You bill back to hunting. What else can you do? Skip forward to your 4th year. You've survived everything. Sea scorpions, molting cycles, your own body ripping itself apart. Your jaws are the biggest they've ever been. Nothing on the seafloor can match you. Then the water starts changing. Over weeks, the oxygen drops. You feel it in the way hunting works. More tired after strikes. Recovery takes longer. The water tastes heavier. Wrong. Your reef is dying around you. Corals bleaching. Sponges collapsing. The trilobites that used to walk past your antennae every day have stopped coming. The seafloor is turning into a graveyard. You haven't eaten in 6 days. Nothing walks past your antennae anymore. You pull deeper into your burrow, conserving energy that isn't coming back. You extend your antennae one last time. Dead trilobite shells scattered across the mud. Fish floating belly up in still water. The current that brought prey and oxygen your whole life has gone slack. Your body shuts down from the tail forward, segment by segment. Bristles relax their grip on the walls. Your jaws, the largest any worm has ever grown, tipped with actual metal, sit idle in the dark. No predator kills you. The ocean just stops giving you what you need to breathe. You die in your burrow. Mud fills in around your body. Soft tissue dissolves within days. But your jaws, those metal-tipped blades, are too tough to rot. They sink into the sediment and turn to stone. 400 million years pass. A geologist in Ontario gets dropped by helicopter at a remote cliff, chips a few rocks, tosses them in a bag, flies out. Those rocks sit in a museum drawer for 20 years. Nobody looks at them. Then someone does. And inside those rocks are the largest worm jaws in the history of planet Earth, sitting in a drawer, unlabeled, for 2 decades. They name you after Alex Webster, bassist of the death metal band Cannibal Corpse, because when the scientists finally see what you were, the only word that fits is brutal. After surviving 100,000 to 1 odds at birth, building an invisible fortress in the mud, grilling jaws tipped with actual metal, hunting with a strike too fast for any eye to follow, and ripping your own body in half to reproduce. You're killed by water that forgot how to carry oxygen, and then you sit in a drawer for 20 years before anyone even notices you existed. Believe it or not, there's an animal with an even worse life. Watch that story next.